Hi, my name is Richa and I am going to share with you my thesis topic, which is a review on embracing disability for fostering workplace inclusion in India. I had chosen this topic because I feel that disability is such a topic where it is very less tapped, and at workplace inclusion we talk of women inclusion, we talk of transgenders inclusion, but very less people talk about person with disabilities inclusion and have practices at their workplace. Though as per Indian constitution there are multiple rights for person with disability. Now let's talk about what does embracing disability mean. So embracing disability mean that hiring person with disability. In complete thesis I am going to either use PWDs or person with disabilities. So when we start hiring person with disabilities at our workplace, we start embracing disability, creating policies and framework for PWDs, and then creating safe working environment for them so that they feel safe while working at their workplace. Then preparing accessible workplace. Now we have PWDs, we have many disabilities which are like locomotor disability, where some people are crutches user, some people are wheelchair user, and some are visually impaired also. So that's why it's very essential that workplace needs to be accessible for all sort of disabilities. Then creating job opportunities for person with disabilities. Now it's suppose if we do not have any job opportunity currently, but we can start figuring it out that what sort of job a person with disability can do. Then sensitization workshops for employees and employers are essential. So when at our workplace, when we start sensitizing employees and employers both, then also we start embracing disability. Now let's talk about some key statistics of person with disability. In India, overall 2.68 crore person with disability are there. This number is taken as per census 2011, which is 2.21% of the total population of the country. And as per Rights of Person with Disability Act 2016, there are 21 types of disabilities added, which include locomotor disability, visual impairment, hearing impairment, speech and language disability, intellectual disability, multiple disabilities, cerebral palsy, dwarfism, thalassemia, acid attack survivor. Earlier this was not added in the act, but when the amendment of right of person with disability happened in 2016, then they have added. Now this is very key important statistics, though as per the number it is only 2.21%, but when we talk about the economic status of a country, then if we even neglect 0.1% of the population, then also it has greater impact on country's economic status. Now there are multiple government initiatives taken. First one is that they have given right of person disability, and they have done amendment in 2016 act. What does this act do? It prohibits employment discrimination and encourages employers to set aside a percentage of jobs for qualified person with disabilities. So they should have a particular qualification as well as they should be skilled. Now government has also initiated multiple programs for skill development of person with disability. These skill development programs aim is to equip people with disability with the necessary skills for employment. For example, communication skills, employability skills, some soft skills, some technical skills. If we talk about the aim and objective of the research, major aim is of this thesis is to evaluate the state of workplace inclusion for person with disability in India, and objectives are firstly analyzing inclusion practices and barriers at workplace, evaluate policies effectiveness, highlight key case studies, recommend strategies for fostering inclusion, contributing to fostering a more inclusive and equitable workplace where each and every employee feel comfortable working. In literature review, I have added concept of disability inclusion, then what workplace inclusion are, what are some of the challenges faced by PWDs for workplace inclusion, then disability percentage, then theoretical framework for embracing disability and fostering workplace inclusion. Now, workplace inclusion, how workplace inclusion can happen? For it, we should have in our company anti-discrimination policy, equal opportunity should be there for them, physical accessibility is required, digital accessibility is important, then inclusive hiring practices, bias-free hiring process, skill development for PWDs, sensitizing training, skill development for person with disability, remote or flexible work options, employee resource group, this is for mentoring purpose, celebration of diversity days, it will help being connected to the diversity. Accessibility standard needs to be maintained in each and every company, then regular audits for needs to happen, then feedback mechanism need to be arranged so that person with disabilities mindset people can understand and accordingly feedback can be provided. Now, major challenges faced by person with disability is there are multiple actually. So first one is skill gap. Now this skill gap is in two forms. First one is limited access to education, and then lack of vocational training. Then loss of self-identity and social distance is there, because sometimes they feel demotivated, sometimes they feel that if they are going to do certain things, what people are going to say. Then unrealistic expectations by employer. At times what happen that employer expect person with disability to work similar to the non-person with disability. For example, if a wheelchair user is there, so wheelchair user cannot do standing job, crutches user cannot do standing job. If somebody is visually impaired, that person cannot do work which requires visuals, right? So as per the their disability, employer should also set expectations. Then networking issue they face, physical limitations are definitely there. Then understanding of mental state of person with disability is bit challenging because their mentality is quite different. Poor interview preparation is there, less labor force participation rate is there, and a stereotype associated with person with disability. So all these things are added in literature view. Now let's talk about theoretical framework for embracing disability and for fostering workplace inclusion. In it, I have added 5 points with findings and conclusion. First one is social model disability, then human rights framework for them, then theory of organizational culture, theory of equity, intersectional theory, and then what the findings after analyzing these theory and the conclusion of it. For this thesis, there is major problem statement is that person with disability in India suffer hindrance is to effective employment inclusion, notwithstanding regulatory frameworks such as right of person with disability. So these are systematic barriers like inaccessible workplace, discriminatory hiring practices, insufficient vocational training, societal stigma. All these are the problems which person with disability face even when there is right of person with disability. Now these limit their professional development and economic development. Additionally, inconsistent implementation of inclusion regulation across industries contributes to the problem, leaving person with disabilities disconnected, and companies are unable to make profit out of this untapped talent pool. Complete research is done on few questions. First one is how effective our current legal policies and frameworks are. How effective are they in promoting inclusion? How do Indian corporate social responsibility help in inclusion? How can organization in India create workplace culture that is inclusive and respectful? What strategies can foster inclusive workplace culture? What are the primary barriers of PWD's inclusion in Indian workplace? A research methodology, I have used mixed method where quantitative and qualitative both methods are used. For it, what I have done, I have collected primary data. That data was collected through a questionnaire and interview. Questionnaire was divided into 5 sections where I got demographic information, their attitudinal information, awareness about multiple rights, awareness about the policies, plus personal reviews as well. And interviews were selected based on the professional and person with disability attitude. Also, for this research, every response was taken voluntarily, and it was ensured that their data is not going to be shared with anywhere. So complete questionnaire was selected and circulated. So complete questionnaire was circulated in form of Google form, and out of that I got 130 participants responses, and then 5 telephonic interviews were conducted. Secondary research I did using multiple research papers, articles and books, and for analyzing I did thematic and statistical method I used to analyze the data. Key findings which I could figure it out was the barriers. So on basis of research on embracing disability fostering workplace inclusion, the barriers are inaccessible infrastructure in most of the companies, and a lack of awareness and training in employees as well as employers, discriminatory hiring practices. Now suppose 2 people are of same qualification, 2 people got similar scores in interview, one is disabled, one is non-disabled. So what we could figure it out that HR prioritize non-disabled person because of the stereotype. So it leads to discriminatory hiring practices. Then limited assistive technologies are there, and a lack of mentoring and inadequate support is there. Another one are challenges which person with disabilities face. First one is low education level. Only 19.3% with secondary education or higher educations were we could figure it out. Then psychological barrier is there, which is kind of low self-esteem and fear of bias. Physical barriers are definitely there, mobility challenge for locomotor disability, visual impairment, and for other disability. Result as per the form that people are lack of aware of the Right of Person with Disability Act. Only 18.5 people were aware out of the complete survey. And then awareness on disability inclusion practices happening at their workplace is also 35.5% only as per the survey. But attitude wise, most of the employees want that person with disability should also get equal opportunity. They should also get opportunity to be economically sound. I could figure it out 2 case studies. One was Tata Consultancy Services, second one was Infosys Foundation. So Tata Consultancy has inclusive hiring practices. It majorly focuses on diversity and inclusion, and accessibility standard they maintain. Diverse hiring panels are there for them. Partnership with organizations supporting person with disability they have, and then inclusive onboarding and training. So in their onboarding and training itself, they share all the policies regarding inclusion. Infosys Foundation focuses more on skill development. They provide education and training programs, partnership. They also have multiple partnership with NGOs. They also focus on digital literacy as well. So both TCS and Infosys Foundation are making significant contribution to making employment opportunities for persons with disabilities in India. Their initiatives demonstrate a commitment to inclusion and a recognition of the valuable contribution that people with disability can make to the workforce. I have certain recommendations. Those recommendations are for organization, policymakers, and for persons with disabilities themselves. For organization, it's very much important that they conduct disability sensitization training for their employees so that they are sensitized towards working with PWDs. Then they need to improve physical and digital accessibility for persons with disabilities. Then they also have to establish employee resource group which will help PWDs do their work impactfully. Also they get mentoring facility. For policymakers, they have already RPWD Act, but they need to strengthen in enforcement of this RPWD Act. Also promote public-private partnership for persons with disability hiring. Then timely audits of the employers for policy usage need to happen. For persons with disability, the suggestion is basically that they need to enhance vocational training and mentorship opportunities, and then timely counseling of persons with disability needs to happen. There is still a requirement of future work. First, industry specific research needs to happen like IT, retail, e-commerce, hospitality, in what are the scope of person with disabilities. Then intersectionality, on it also future work can happen, like here we need to investigate how factors such as gender, socio-economic status, caste intersect with disability to influence workplace inclusion and career outcome. Role of technology is definitely important, that what sort of assistive technologies and digital accessibility solution on enhancing workplace participation for PWDs with a focus on scalability and affordability. Longitudinal studies also need to happen. It would evaluate the long-term effectiveness of workplace inclusion policy and practices by tracking person with disabilities, career progression, satisfaction and retention over time. Then policy implementation in rural areas needs to happen, like again enforcement of these policies in rural regions is required. Awareness campaigns need to happen, which would develop and evaluate the impact of targeted awareness and sensitivity training programs for employers and employees to foster a more inclusive workplace culture. Then global benchmarking. We need to compare disability inclusion practices with global benchmark to identify strategies that can be adapted to Indian context. Conclusion. This thesis concludes the workplace inclusion for PWDs in India remains a challenge due to systematic barriers and inconsistency in policy implementation. Addressing these gaps require awareness, enforcement and inclusive practices to foster equitable employment opportunity and societal progress. My research reflection is that while conducting this research, I deepened my understanding of the barriers faced by persons with disability. Also, this journey has pushed me to work more and to be committed and advocating for diversity inclusion, creating equitable opportunity through collective efforts from individual, organization and policymakers. Also, engaging with surveys, interviews and case studies highlight the importance of awareness, policy enforcement and innovative solutions. The insight gained have guided me in contributing to a more inclusive society and workplace environment. Also, time constraint was there and participant requirement required adaptability and strategic planning with time management skills. This research emphasized the need for long-term studies to track the effectiveness of inclusion strategies and to ensure sustained impact. So here is the complete reflection of my research as well as key pointers which I have presented right now from my thesis. Thank you for taking out time and going through it. Thank you.